This is our fifth week of going through Romans chapter 3, and we've been comparing the verses, one verse each week, each Saturday, to a modern English translation. Today we're going to compare Romans 3:23 in the Greek with the King James Version. So going back to a classic earlier translation of the Bible into English, the King James. And so let's look at the English text first. It's a text that many of us memorized, have read since we were small children. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. A beautiful verse that summarizes our need for salvation, right? Every single one of us. No matter how religious you are, no matter how impressive you are, we are all sinners who fall short of God's glorious standard and who are in need of the gift of righteousness outside of ourselves. Now let's read the Greek text. Pantes gar hemartan kai hustoruntai tes doxes tu theou. Now, this is obviously a very short text, so there's not a whole lot to do here. We'll give a literal translation and comment as we go along. There's our little post-positive word, gar, that jumps second. In English, we put those connecting words first. For all, pantes, all, hemartan. And this is an aorist, and it's, I think, rightly rendered here with an English perfect. It's usually called a constative or summary aorist within the context, meaning that here Paul is looking back over human history probably and saying, hey, throughout human history, everybody has sinned. Everyone has committed wrong, has done wrong, and is thus guilty, right? So it's probably functioning in that way. Of course, it's coming from the word hamartano, and rendering that as English perfect is fine. Sometimes aorists are best rendered as English perfects, for all have sinned. One thing that I think is potentially obscured in this King James translation is it's easy to think that this next verb is continuing with that idea, all have sinned and have come short of the glory of God. But actually the next word there, the verb, it's from hustoreo, to lack, or to fall short, or to come short. And that's a question I guess we could ask too, is in English, does the idea of coming short or falling short, is that too antiquated for a modern reader? Would lack be a better usage? And you'll see almost every English translation has fall short, fall short, fall short. The reason for that might not be because that's the best translation, but there's a admirable conservatism in Bible translation with well-known verses. They want them to be, you don't want to change the Lord's Prayer, you don't want to change people's memory verses. For the Romans road, there's an admirable conservatism I'm comparing the King James here with modern English translations. I'm looking at the Net Bible, the New American Standard, the ESV, the NIV, all of them fall short, which has just communicates a continuity with the more stable, older Bible translations, post-Reformation, that have influenced the English language for many years. So, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Hustoruntai, though, is present, right? It's a present, middle, indicative, third person plural. And there's a question as to, how that should be read. Is it assessing? Now, all people, not only have all people sinned, all people are currently lacking the glory of God. We were made to reflect God's glory, and we don't. We don't reflect God's glory because we are sinners. Or is there a gnomic sense here? This is a timeless assessment of humanity rather than sort of a snapshot picture assessment. I'm not sure. Both of those are theologically true, but the point I'm trying to make is in the English translation here, though it's a good one, a classic one, is there some loss in our ability to see the change from the aorist to the present tense here, right? So, if you want to go on YouTube and you type in Plummer, King James Version, you'll find out I did a video a few years ago for the seminary talking about the King James Version. I tried to do so in an ironic way, but truthful way, talking about how it's a great translation, but there's some reasons now that we would prefer modern translations. And I tell my students sometimes, if someone ever asks you to do a YouTube video about the King James Version, it's similar to being asked, hey, there's a thunderstorm going on outside. Would you hold this piece of metal over your head and run around in it? Because let me tell you, there's some people who love the King James Bible and will unlovingly attack you if you say the slightest negative thing about it. So if you want to go on YouTube, you can see my video about the King James Version.